Hey, welcome back. This is Watertown365. We have urgent, timely, up-to-the-minute pool news. It has been a week-to-week event saying that this pool is open, this pool is closed, so you want to know about a downtown pool at the Watertown YMCA that has closed after 109 years. So this is like generational, once-in-a-lifetime stuff. Speaking of once-in-a-lifetime, we have news about that upcoming eclipse that's going through Watertown in 2024, so good to get prepared for that. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about some of these news stories, starting with Watertown closing a 109-year-old downtown pool. For 109 years, generations of area residents have learned how to swim in the lap pool of the downtown YMCA. And I always think, okay, I'm not going to pull up the news story, but I want to see what this pool looks like, or I want to see what the photo is. So this long history has come to an end because the Watertown Family YMCA Board of Directors has announced that the pool that served so many will be closed permanently after a structural evaluation determined the pool was no longer safe. It was recently drained and will not be refilled. So the end of an era. And this is good, right? You don't want to be swimming in a leaky pool, unsafe pool. With the age of the lap pool, the YMCA has done due diligence and conducted structural assessments twice in the past 5 years. Now, despite the lap pool's closure, the YMCA will offer lap pool swim opportunities at varying times in the recreational pool at the downtown center. The Watertown High School pool will also be open to lap pool swimmers from 6:15 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. during the week, and by appointment only through something called Group X Pro at the YMCA beginning on July 5th. So there are still other pools around town, and there's still opportunities to reserve time in some of these other pools, but this downtown facilities lap pool has been a community asset for more than a century. 5 generations of Jefferson County residents learned to swim at the YMCA. The pool has helped form lifelong friendships and added countless healthy years to lives, according to YMCA officials. Many young people got their first job working at the pool. And so, I mean, this pool, it's been around for so long, it has so much history, it's going to upset so many people just with this once-in-a-lifetime change that the YMCA staff is working to set up an event to give residents a chance to tell their stories about their experiences at the pool. Now, how cool is that? It's always good to kind of raise awareness about, if you're looking for things to do, there's always this or that pool to go to. And these last few weeks have kind of shined a light on how expensive the upkeep from some of these big pools is and how important it is. So the final demolition work at the $27.5 million facility continues at 148 Arsenal Street. A groundbreaking has been tentatively scheduled for the second week of July. So there's a new lap pool coming up at the $27 million aquatic center that will open at a former call center on Arsenal Street. So out with the old, in with the new. And this new lap pool that is over at the former call center on Arsenal Street will be completed in November 2023. So to recap, the news is old lap pool at the YMCA closing. That's thing one. Thing two is that there is some kind of an upcoming event gathering where people can come and share their stories, decades old sometimes, about this pool. And then number three, there are other pool opportunities around town. And number four, there is a new lap pool coming up at 148 Arsenal Street. So there's your weekly pool news. Maybe we'll have more in that exact category next week. And so moving on, there is the Black River Trail. Have you seen it? Have you heard of it? Have you been to it? Well, the city of Watertown has used $1.6 million from the state to construct sidewalks and multi-use trails on the western section of the Black River Trail. Now, this funding is from the Federal Highway Administration, and projects were selected through a competitive process that required awardees to demonstrate how proposed activities would contribute to increasing the use of non-vehicular transportation alternatives, reduce vehicle emissions, and or mitigate traffic congestion. So this funding, there's basically funding from the state that was given $178 million to 75 communities to promote environmentally friendly modes of travel and make it easier and safer to walk, bike, or hike. Now this funding, it aims to improve access to the transportation system for all users and advance the state's agenda to fight climate change by supporting the construction of new sidewalks and shared use paths that facilitate the use of non-motorized modes of travel and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So the recap on this one is that it's always a lot of work to get this grant money. You have to show your budgeting, and you have to show why you're worthwhile. So the Watertown Black River Trail won this funding, and it's always good to know when these kinds of like walking trails and biking trails pop up, because I don't know how true it is. I think it's true, but apparently up in Canada you can bike a whole path across or walk a whole path across without having to switch over to cars or public transportation. I mean, what an idea, what a concept. But for us here locally, Black River Trail is getting some sprucing up. So if you have not been there lately, let's call it up on Google Maps. So this is a New York State park, and it is up northeast of town. So if you're heading up towards like Fort Drum, that kind of thing, consider the Black River Trail. And if you look at, there's all the wilderness out there up in the when you go northeast outside of town, to like Evans Mills and things like that. But Black River Trail, I mean, it's surprisingly close. So it's highly recommended if you have not been there. I mean, look at how cool and how beautiful that is, right? And it's pretty easy to walk on. You won't get, you won't fall off a cliff. You won't get messed around with bugs too much. You can just go on this paved trail and enjoy nature and take the family and then go back to the stuffy indoors, right? Okay, so speaking of nature, there is a solar eclipse committee. So let's talk about that. Let's jump into that. The city's solar eclipse committee announced on Thursday that it has launched a website to keep people informed about this celestial event in 2024. So Watertown is in the path of totality of this. So mark your calendars. This is the most important date you might ever mark down. April 8th, 2024. Once in a lifetime. And the time, don't forget this, don't sleep through it, 3:22 p.m. So for 3 minutes and 39 seconds, you will be in total darkness in the middle of the day. Now, how cool is that? So the website for this is wdt.me/solar eclipse. So at historic Thompson Park, they will be doing this for the best view on Earth, and I'm sure that they will give you like the little safety spiel and give you the glasses and tell you all the important stuff, like don't look directly at the sun. But this will be pretty cool. Darkness for 3 minutes and 39 seconds on April 8th, 2024. So 4/8/24 at Watertown, or at Thompson Park. The total eclipse of the park. So they're still figuring out the details, right? There's still less than 2 years, but that will be a cool event for you to go to. Now, speaking of things that are not so cool, or that maybe the kids these days think is cool but is not, vaping. So the Youth Alliance of Jefferson County says a marketing denial for Juul won't ease the vaping epidemic among youth. So if you've been living under a rock the last 5 or 10 years, there's this thing called like vaping, and then the problem is that the kids, the teenagers, they suck on the I guess it like vaporizes the nicotine, the cigarettes, and so it's kind of it's not as obvious as smoking a cigarette, and then some of the kids think it's safe, and it's not. It's bad for you, and then it's kind of mixed with the fruity flavors, so they really think it's good for you, and it's like it's not good. Kids vaping, nicotine is not a good thing for their lungs and all that. And so there's just been all this controversy with Juul Labs, and specifically in 2020, Juul Labs had voluntarily discontinued sales of its fruity and other flavored products after a backlash over a rise in youth vaping rates. But the company had submitted 4 tobacco and menthol flavored products for FDA authorization, and after a 2-year review of these applications, the FDA on June 23rd ordered Juul to remove its remaining products from the market, contending that the company gave insufficient or conflicting data about the potential risks of using its products. So Juul Labs has been granted a temporary stay on the order banning its products and is seeking an extension in court. And so there's so much to jump in, but these are still very addictive, high nicotine content, flavors, colorful packaging. So they try to make it fun, and it's almost like the 50s and 60s all over again, right? Trying to get the word out and fighting this message where the kids think that smoking is cool or that it's not bad for you, but it turns out that it is. And so here's some data for you, so that way we're not just speaking rhetoric. 160 devices were collected with over 4 local school districts. So they went and confiscated these devices, and 160 of these vaping devices were taken from kids, and 133 were nicotine devices. 21 were Juul devices, 19 contained some form of marijuana, and 8 were handmade, homemade, assembled from a kit, assembled from pieces on the internet, who knows what. And so yeah, there is a lot happening with this, and a lot of long-term stuff, and a lot of monitoring it. There's issues with the U.S. Postal Service. There's issues with the FDA regulating nicotine salts, flavored vape juice, and just all these creative ways that the kids these days are getting their little bit of a drug fix, right? So sending any electronic nicotine devices through the mail carries a misdemeanor charge of up to $5,000 or $100 per vapor product. And so I guess the fear here is that the kids are going online, going on the internet, and getting these mailed to them. Because it's one thing to go to try to buy it from a store and they deny you, but when it's sent in the mail, then that's a whole other thing. And so there's many details on the CDC about e-cigarettes, about how ultra-fine particles can be inhaled into the lungs. There's a chemical in there linked to serious lung disease. There is organic compounds, cancer-causing chemicals, heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead, and it's difficult to know what nicotine products contain. For example, some e-cigarettes marketed as containing no nicotine were tested and found to contain nicotine, and it's kind of like a deja vu kind of situation where when cigarettes were new and being mass produced, not everyone knew the long-term effects, not everyone knew what was in them, and then it was leading to, well, it's not really policed very much, and then people get sick and injured from them. So that's the situation that we're in now, where there's all these new innovations and all these new clever, creative ways, and it's just kind of unregulated in a lot of ways, and it's scary when the kids are smoking their e-cigarettes. So I hope I didn't go off on too much of a dad lecture or anything like that, just passing along some of the local issues and the things that are being discussed in some of the local school districts, just this kind of ever danger of the kids and being discreet and being sneaky and smoking their e-cigarettes, which sometimes don't contain nicotine, but they're still inhaling some of these bad chemicals. Sometimes do contain nicotine, and I mean, you don't want kids smoking cigarettes. And even worse, some of the little kids are smoking marijuana, which is bad for the development and everything else. So that ends the official segment on those e-cigarettes. And if there's any other kind of health issues to bring up locally, then we might bring those up in a future date as well. So let's switch gears into some more positivity. We're going to be talking about Glory Construction and Development. Well, Chris there over at Glory Construction and Development on Reasoner Road can be found at gloryconstructionny.com. So here's the website where they talk about home building, remodeling, kitchen, and bathroom. Glory Construction and Development is a quality construction company in Watertown, New York. Glory Construction and Development offers affordable commercial contracting for all your construction needs. Proven to be the best all-around general contractor near Watertown, New York with a verified track record. Their phone number is 315-779-4022. But the more logical place to go, since you're already on the internet, right? If you're on a computer or phone or tablet, you're already on a website. So go to this other website, gloryconstructionny.com. No project is too big or small. Home, kitchen, and bath remodeling or renovation. So gloryconstructionny.com. Go there, click on get a free quote, fill in the form, give Chris your information, and ideally he will email you or phone you back, whatever your preferred method of contact is, and you can at least know your options. You can at least know if Chris is interested in this job, or what time frame this would be, or what the budget would be. The first step in you tackling whatever these home repair or home renovation projects is figuring out what it will cost. And hey, here's an idea. Even if you plan on doing the repair yourself, maybe just look at what this could be, right? See what Chris and his team can do as far as that kitchen remodel or that home repair, and figure out what the cost and the budget would be. And even if you plan on going over to the hardware store and you yourself figuring out the cost of your materials and the time for you to do it, or the amount of work it would take you, then you can kind of weigh your options, and you're at least making progress towards this, whatever your personal home issue is that needs fixing. Whether it's a necessity or it's just kind of a nice to have, like you want to build on that room addition or fix up that kitchen and modernize it, whatever it is, Glory Construction and Development. Consider them first and get your quote, even if you plan on maybe doing it yourself. And hey, there's that saying of if the husband hasn't gotten around to doing that kitchen remodel, there's no need to remind him every 6 months about it. So if you've just been delaying this for years on end, maybe just give Chris at Glory Construction and Development a call, and maybe he can help you out instead. And I know we're going a little long in today's episode, but we're almost done because we want to make sure to talk about Northern Tree Experts. Their website is at northerntreeexperts.com. Exactly what you would expect, right? Just slap the .com on there. They help with tree removal. They are not a production-based company. They are a professional tree service safety-based company based in Watertown, New York. Vinny or Matt will be happy to help you with a free estimate, or even better, booking an appointment. Need trees to be removed completely? Northern Tree Experts is the place to go. If you are looking for a professional team that will be able to take the trees done efficiently with all the best tools and safety equipment, Northern Tree Experts is the best choice. Their years of experience on the job mean they can handle all kinds of issues with no risk to anyone. They are at 22810 Ike Street, Watertown, New York, 315-509-1401. Open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Closed on Sunday, northerntreeexperts.com. So we are out of time. We are over time, but that's okay. We're giving you lots of information. We want to make sure that you know about our website, you know about our other places to go. Watertown365 is the website where you can see that about this story about the man that planted a giant sequoia in the UK to offset his carbon footprint for life. You can also find out about how that dang pesky water main broke again on Watertown Center Loop Road. You can scroll further and find out about how there is a proposed St. Lawrence River Resort. That's exciting. How there was the first ever commute in the Jetson flying car. So all this and more at Watertown365.com, and then on Facebook, we're at facebook.com/Watertown365, where strangely enough, we didn't really get into a lot of food news this week. Sometimes we're talking about this with pizza or this with some restaurant. But today, as we're recording this, is National Postal Worker Day. Before that, it was National Meteor Watch Day. And even before that, it was National Camera Day. So don't just be a bystander, participate in our conversation. Go and find us at facebook.com/Watertown365 and find us on the web at Watertown365. I can't move my finger to the right way. There we go. Watertown365.com. We'll see you on that website. We'll see you on Facebook, and we'll see you next week with more exciting, action-packed, small town, Watertown, New York, local news and events. Bye for now.